Noam Chomsky, a name synonymous with intellectual rigor and unyielding activism. You might know him as the father of modern linguistics, a field he revolutionized with his groundbreaking theories on syntax and language structure, but he's also a total badass when it comes to political commentary. His voice has been a constant in the fight against oppression and injustice. Chomsky has been calling out injustice for decades, never shying away from controversial topics or powerful adversaries. His critiques of power, from the Vietnam War to the Iraq War, have made him a hero to many. He has consistently stood on the side of the oppressed, using his platform to amplify their voices. Chomsky doesn't just point fingers, he dives deep into the issues, providing thorough analyses and well-researched arguments. He explains complex issues in a way everyone can understand. His ability to break down intricate topics into digestible pieces is unparalleled. He uses simple language, clear examples, and a healthy dose of outrage. This combination makes his work not only accessible but also deeply impactful. In Neoliberalism's War on Democracy, Chomsky tackles a big one: neoliberalism. This book is a critical examination of how neoliberal policies have eroded democratic institutions. It's a system that sounds good on paper, promising freedom and prosperity. But in reality, it's a different story. Chomsky argues that neoliberalism prioritizes corporate interests over public welfare. Chomsky argues that neoliberalism is actually a threat to democracy itself. By concentrating wealth and power in the hands of a few, it undermines the very foundations of democratic governance. This book is a must-read for anyone who cares about the future of our world. It challenges us to rethink our assumptions and consider the true cost of neoliberal policies. Chomsky's insights are more relevant than ever. In a world increasingly dominated by corporate interests, his call for justice and equality resonates deeply. His work continues to inspire and educate, reminding us of the power of informed dissent. So, what exactly is neoliberalism? Simply put, it's an economic philosophy that worships the free market. Less government regulation, more privatization, and a whole lot of faith in the invisible hand of the market. Sounds great, right? Who doesn't love freedom? But here's the catch. In practice, neoliberalism often leads to more inequality, less democracy, and a whole lot of power in the hands of the very few. Think of it like this. Imagine a game of Monopoly where one player starts with all the money and property. That's neoliberalism in a nutshell. The rules might sound fair, but the game is rigged from the start. Chomsky argues that neoliberalism is fundamentally at odds with democracy. He believes that the principles of neoliberalism, which prioritize market freedom and deregulation, inherently conflict with the core values of a democratic society. In a democracy, the power should lie with the people, ensuring that every individual has an equal opportunity to participate in the political process. Why? Because true democracy requires an informed and engaged citizenry. Citizens need access to unbiased information and the ability to discuss and debate issues freely. This engagement is crucial for holding those in power accountable and for making decisions that reflect the will of the people. It needs a level playing field where everyone has a voice. This means that all citizens, regardless of their socio-economic status, should have the same opportunity to influence political outcomes. A fair and just society is one where the voices of the marginalized and the underrepresented are heard and valued. But neoliberalism, according to Chomsky, undermines all of that. It promotes policies that favor the wealthy and powerful, creating a significant imbalance in society. This economic system prioritizes profit over people, leading to increased inequality and social injustice. It concentrates wealth and power in the hands of a tiny elite. This concentration of resources allows the elite to exert disproportionate influence over political decisions, often at the expense of the broader population. The gap between the rich and the poor widens, eroding the foundations of democracy. This elite then uses its influence to shape public opinion, control the media, and rig the system in their favor. By dominating the media landscape, they can manipulate the narrative, ensuring that their interests are protected and promoted. This manipulation undermines the democratic process, as it distorts the information that citizens rely on to make informed decisions. The result? A system where the voices of ordinary people are drowned out by the roar of corporate interests. The concerns and needs of the average citizen are overshadowed by the priorities of big business and the wealthy elite. This creates a sense of disenfranchisement and disillusionment among the populace. A system where elections become a charade a choice between pre-selected candidates beholden to the same wealthy donors. The democratic process is reduced to a mere formality, with real power remaining in the hands of a few. This erosion of true democratic principles threatens the very fabric of society, making it imperative for citizens to recognize and challenge these dynamics. Let's talk about elections. In a healthy democracy, elections are supposed to be about the people choosing their leaders. But under neoliberalism, Chomsky argues, elections become more about maintaining the status quo. How? Through the influence of money in politics. Think about it. Corporations and wealthy individuals can pour millions into political campaigns, funding the candidates who support their interests. These candidates, in turn, are more likely to pass laws that benefit their donors, not necessarily the people they represent. This creates a vicious cycle where the wealthy get wealthier, and their grip on power tightens. Section 5. The shrinking public sphere, muzzling dissent. Chomsky argues that neoliberalism also shrinks the public sphere, the space where ideas are debated and dissent is tolerated. This public sphere is essential for a healthy democracy, as it allows for the free exchange of ideas and the ability to challenge the status quo. However, neoliberal policies systematically erode this space, making it increasingly difficult for ordinary people to have their voices heard. This is done in a few ways. One of the most significant methods is through the concentration of economic power. When wealth and resources are controlled by a small elite, they can exert disproportionate influence over public policy and discourse. First, by privatizing public services and institutions. Think about education, where private schools and universities often have more resources than their public counterparts. This creates a two-tier system, where only those who can afford it receive the best education. Healthcare is another critical area. Private hospitals and clinics prioritize profit over patient care, leading to disparities in the quality of healthcare available to different segments of the population. Even prisons have been privatized, turning incarceration into a business where the focus is on maximizing profits rather than rehabilitation. As these services become dominated by private companies, their primary goal becomes profit, not public good. This shift in priorities undermines the very foundation of a society that values equality and justice. Second, by increasing the influence of corporate media. The media landscape is increasingly dominated by a few large conglomerates, which control a significant portion of the information we consume daily. As media conglomerates grow larger and more powerful, they control more of the information we consume. This concentration of media ownership limits the diversity of viewpoints and reduces the space for independent journalism. This gives them immense power to shape public opinion and marginalize dissenting voices. When the media is controlled by corporate interests, it often prioritizes stories that align with those interests, sidelining critical issues and alternative perspectives. The result? A less informed and engaged citizenry, more susceptible to propaganda and manipulation. This erosion of the public sphere weakens democracy, as people become less capable of making informed decisions and holding those in power accountable. In the end, the muzzling of dissent serves to entrench the power of the elite, making it ever more challenging to achieve meaningful social change. Section 6. Corporations over people, the erosion of workers' rights. Remember that monopoly analogy? Neoliberalism often leads to a situation where corporations have more rights than people. Chomsky points to the erosion of workers' rights as a prime example. Under neoliberalism, unions are weakened, regulations are rolled back, and workers are left vulnerable to exploitation. The pursuit of profit trumps all else, even the basic rights of workers. This leads to a race to the bottom, where corporations seek out the cheapest labor possible, often in countries with lax labor laws. The result? Lower wages, worse working conditions, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. Section 7. Chomsky's warning, a call to action. Chomsky doesn't just diagnose the problem, he also offers solutions. He argues that we need to reclaim our democracy from the grip of corporate power. This means challenging the neoliberal consensus, demanding accountability from our leaders, and fighting for a more just and equitable society. He calls for a renewed focus on public goods, like education, healthcare, and a clean environment. He urges us to support independent media and hold corporations accountable for their actions. Chomsky's message is clear: we can't be passive observers. We need to be active participants in our democracy, or risk losing it altogether. Section 8. The importance of understanding neoliberalism. Understanding neoliberalism is crucial for anyone who wants to make sense of the world today. It's the dominant ideology of our time, shaping everything from our economy to our politics to our daily lives. By understanding how neoliberalism works, we can start to see through its myths and challenge its assumptions. We can start to imagine and fight for a better future, one where people and the planet come before profit. Section 9. Conclusion. Resisting the neoliberal tide. Neoliberalism's war on democracy is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires constant vigilance, participation, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. Chomsky's work is a call to action, urging us to resist the forces that seek to undermine our democracy and erode our freedoms. It's a reminder that another world is possible, but we have to fight for it.